What's up, guys? David Land here, bringing you my second Porsche RS Spyder review for today, which is really weird because I think there's one other one on YouTube before today, but this is a very, very special car for very, very many reasons to me. This is the Muscle Milk Pickett Racing number 6, a Team Cytosport ALMS 2010 RS Spyder, and why this is important, at least in terms of historical, and then for me, historically speaking, this is the last Porsche RS Spyder that ever raced in competition. The final race for it was, I believe, the 2010 Petit Le Mans, and then, of course, it was retired as new P2 and P1 rules came in, and the car wasn't able to compete in any of those. Well, it technically could have competed in P1, and it almost did, but that's another story for another day. But this was the last Porsche RS Spyder to ever race, and in terms of personal connection to me, the Muscle Milk team has always been one of my favorites from sports car racing. They always raced my favorite cars too. They started out with a Lola B06, which I said in my Fernandez Lola review that's my favorite looking prototype of all time. Then they moved to this Porsche RS Spyder in 2009, which is absolutely probably the most revolutionary prototype we've seen in a very long time in terms of sports car prototype racing. Then they went to the Lola Aston Martin, which is the best sounding prototype of all time. And then eventually they moved to the Acura ARX for the end of the ALMS, and again, another great sounding, beautiful, innovative prototype. But this is a fantastic diecast I got off of eBay. Again, it's produced by Norev, same mold as the Penske car I showed earlier, but this one is a little bit special as well because it's autographed, or at least the box is autographed by Pickett and Klaus, Graf, who are both the drivers from the car. Thankfully, they didn't sign on the diecast, so I was willing to take the plunge on an autographed box, I guess, because I really just wanted the diecast, but the autographs will go great. I think that's my first Pickett autograph. I already had a Klaus Graf because I got one at Petit Le Mans in 2013 when I saw these guys race. This box, as you can tell, is a little bit bigger than the Penske box. This is something notorious for Norev. They have huge boxes, huge window boxes. You can see Norev on there with the RS Spyder. You can see very beautifully represented. And just a matte black box. Not a whole lot to go over on it. Just the Norev logos, and then we go on to the bottom here, and you can see all the Norev legalese. This car is I won't go out as far to say as it's rare, but it does not come up very often, and it seems like they ship more of these overseas than they did to the United States, which doesn't make any sense because it's a US-based team, US-based car. But whatever, I got this one from America, so they're out there if you want them, but it does take a little while to track down. So let's take a look at this car out of the box. So again, like the Penske car, these Norevs come in this big old plastic Harambe case. Very strange, but whatever. It's French. Then you do get a little bit of a personalization there with the Porsche RS Spyder ALMS 2010 Team Cytosport. So let's get this thing out of its cage and take a full look at it. So behold, one of my holy grail diecast. I first discovered this car, or found out that it existed, on an old site called AmericanLeMansFans.com, which doesn't exist anymore because they shut it down because people were becoming crapwagon about it, just talking trash about WeatherTech sports car, even though it was pretty justified. Whatever. They shut that site down, but there was a forum member on there who had this car, and I looked at it and I was like, oh my gosh, I've got to have that. So I've tried to track one down for a reasonable price, finally found one, and of course it just happened to be the one that's autographed. Now the rear wing is a bit wonky on this one. Again, I'm not going to complain. The Penske one was perfect, and whatever, not a big deal. This is, again, a holy grail item for me. Very happy to have it, and as you can tell, it's just an absolutely beautiful piece. Lovely white Porsche. Not a whole lot going on with the Muscle Milk livery, which is fantastic. It's a simple livery, but it really works. In fact, when this car first started running, I had Forza Motorsport 3 at the time, and I recreated the livery in Forza 3. So I have really good memories of this car when it first came out. So that was one of the things that one of the memories I have. I never actually got to see this car race, unfortunately. I missed it by a year because my first ALMS race was the 2011 Petit Le Mans, and of course the last race for this car was the 2010 Petit Le Mans. This car did, since this is the 2010 version of the car, won Sebring in the P2 class. Unfortunately, it wasn't able to match the Penske, which won overall in 2008. But this was when they had restricted the P2 cars so that they couldn't really race with the P1 cars. They had to run by ACO rules in 2010, and they got to run by ALMS rules in 2008. And the ALMS rules allowed the P2 and P1 cars to actually race each other. And the ACO rules restricted the P2 cars to the point where they were uncompetitive with the P1 cars anymore. That was kind of unfortunate, but that was politics, baby. Beautiful car, Michelin tire. This is there actually was a P2 car, RS Spyder. A lot of people don't know this. They ran on Dunlops. It was the Essex car in, I think, 2008. I think by 2009 they had gone to the Michelin tires, but there was a RS Spyder running on Dunlops at one point. Well, I was going to mention in the Penske review, as you can see, the wing, wonky wing. That's just unfortunate. That's some warping there. Wonder if I could get it to unwarp, but I don't know. Norev produced pretty much, I think they produced every single RS Spyder that's ever been out. Not specifically every single team for every single race, but if a team ran an RS Spyder, they did a diecast for it. So if you're a Dyson Racing fan, if you're a Van Merkenstein fan, if you're what was the other one? Lista or whatever the team was, the one that Didier Tays ran. If you're a fan of that team, you can get a Norev RS Spyder of it. They did every single one, I believe. So it's an absolutely fantastic car. Not a whole lot to say about it in terms of livery, because it is very very plain. But of course, Klaus Graf and Craig Pickett, what is interesting about those two is that they actually ran the company. Both of them. Klaus handled the distribution, and Greg Pickett was the owner. So they raced the car on the weekends, and then they went back to business to fund the car on the weekdays. But Klaus was much faster. He's actually a professional race. Well, they were both professional racing drivers. Just Greg Pickett was fairly old when they ran this car, so he wasn't quite as fast as Klaus was, and eventually when they went to the Aston Martin, they hired Lucas Luhr, and they actually had a lot more success when they had two kind of younger drivers running the car. But an absolutely fantastic, beautiful, beautiful car. I'm so happy to have this one. Clearly, just again one of my holy grail diecasts. So looking at it, being able to hold it, being able to touch it is absolutely wonderful. So let's go in and look at both the RS Spyders next to each other, and then I'll finish up this video. So here it is, my Porsche RS Spyder collection. I didn't expect I would be saying that about myself at some point during my life, but certainly 2008 David, 2009 David, 2010 David would be very appreciative of this collection, and I'm very happy to have two Porsche RS Spyders and two very inspiring, very influential cars in my development as a race fan in my collection. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you did enjoy this video, hit the like button, or these videos, there was two today. If you enjoyed these two videos on these two RS Spyders, hit the like button. Also subscribe for more stuff like this. I am a motorsport channel first, and I will follow any motorsport, pretty much any motorsport, if it strikes my fancy. So subscribe if you're a motorsport fan. So thank you guys so much for watching. This has been David Land on YouTube, and we'll see you in the next video.